And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happenstance into this Truth Bomb Rift. My name is Patrick Lovell, and I'm joined by my colleague.
I'm Roseanne Rabiola-Mealy.
And in our ongoing pursuit to try to put together some sort of amalgamation of information that everybody is paying attention to and is filtering through every day, our hope is to be able to touchstone on everything that everybody is talking about in the moment, or at least let's call it the top line headlines, to get you backfilled in the incredible information that we are exposing, that we have to somehow penetrate the hearts, minds, and souls of literally millions and millions and millions of you if you want to defeat fascism and corruption, because we've got the answers that can take it all down. And on that note, Roseanne, what are you seeing today?
On that note, this morning, first tweet I see, okay, it's from somebody called Doge Designer who has 80,000.6 followers. I
800,000.
860.6 thousand followers. I didn't know who it was. You told me it's kind of another spot where Elon can get his messages out. Okay. We don't have that kind of following. But this person or thing or bot says the only reason for open borders and the importation of illegal immigrants is to grant them citizenship and transform America into a permanent one-party, deep socialist state. Either stand by and watch it happen or vote for Trump to save America. The choice is yours. To which Elon says, yup, that statement and Elon's answer it can't be farther from the truth. Okay. Where is a path to citizenship? Do we have a real path to citizenship? No. What they're trying to do is to say it's the left, it's the Democrats who are bringing in people by the millions so that they can vote and vote for a one party deep socialist state. Wrong, wrong, wrong. We already have a one party in this country. Who takes money from this side and who takes money from that side? And financial terrorists give money to both sides. Do they not? Do they not give money to both sides?
You showed that to me earlier today. It totally triggered me because it's totally the pathway to the irony of what it is that we're doing and why. So we're trying to reach tens of millions of you because of what Elon just said, except it's the absolute inverse of what Elon presented. Okay, so think of these words and then understand the reflection of how this whole thing works. Okay, he said what they're doing, meaning the Democrats, are bringing in illegal immigrants to vote in droves by the millions to be able to steal the election and create a deep state socialist state that is the end of America. Now, what have we been doing the whole time, my friends? First of all, what we're doing is the Clean New Deal. And both Roseanne and I, Rabiola-Mealy, represent the pathway to reveal exactly what Elon Musk said, except that the real socialist deep state is for the billionaires that have been getting trillions of dollars for free behind the scenes illegally for 13 plus years that put these guys above the law and market forces. Sorry to get a little bit pissed off, but I've been going to I've been participating in elections ever since I was 18 years old. I'm about to be 56 years old, and never have I gone to an election polling station to go into a booth without showing my voter ID or my registration first. And obviously, I'm a white American guy. Okay, if I've got to show my ID, do you think some guy that just got here from another country who doesn't speak the language, who might be wearing, I mean, who's going to show himself to potentially the police if he got here illegally? It's absurd, first and foremost. And for anybody to believe that this is the truth, you have to be so monumentally stupid. And the idea is that you've probably never been to a voting booth in your life. And so these people galvanized by the millions, they go to these freaking like Nazi-like rallies to where they're like, what, Zeke Heil to Trump and freaking Elon? Let me tell you something about Elon, okay? Elon came to this country as an immigrant from South America, where he actually was raised in an apartheid scenario, okay? First and foremost, go ahead. You got something to say?
Oh, I was going to say South Africa,
What did I say?
South America.
Ha! Sorry.
That's okay. That's
South
okay.
Africa, South Africa, where apartheid reigns.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad stuff that happens in South America also, but I meant to say South Africa via Canada into the United States and all of that jazz. But look, people, Roseanne identified that this connection and extension of Elon Musk and Dogecoin, which is another part of the story that I had laid out on, on X the other day, that, oh yeah, that's a part of crypto too, and that's a part of the story, but we won't go into that in this particular story. But what I will tell you is over the course of the last, I don't know, 24 hours or so, I've been looking at, I always see Elon pop up on my feed on X, but I mean, the lies that these guys are bloviating are insane. So here's an example of some of the stuff that just happened recently. The Democratic administrative state is flying millions of future voters directly into swing states. They are being sent to cities and towns throughout Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Arizona. Oh, those are swing states. So that's straight from Elon Musk. That's trying to like get people fearful, like, oh my God, they're eating dogs and cats. They're from Haiti. They're going to take over your country because the Democrats are allowing them to vote without voter ID. My God, it's unbelievable. This is happening to 98 million people. Plus, he amplifies this stuff. It's insane. That has 20 million views on that. Then he also talks about in the same breath in the next post, oh, wow, looks like Alaska Airlines is going to install all SpaceX Starlink in-flight internet on its fleet. Oh, great. So the guy that's lying to everybody has more access to more information about people all over the world. Okay, wow. Part and parcel to his relationship, by the way, with government contracts, the things that make him a welfare queen and the actual socialist that I'm talking about. But I'll get back to that in a second. Then he talks about Haitians and Cubans paroled in the USA for more than 1 year are qualified aliens to receive federal welfare, Medicaid, Social Security. I think that's bullshit. I haven't done the deep dive on that, but I don't buy it. I could go on and on and on. Everything, these fake accounts, because I don't think Elon's posting all of that himself, but I am absolutely pretty certain that Elon is, obviously allowing those to even give him a brief for what the daily routine is in concert with everything that's going on. And one thing I wanted people to understand from months and months of putting this on their radar, Rachel Maddow did a fantastic broadcast called Ultra. And you can find it, just do a Google search. I think it's on her NBC podcast. They make it a little bit difficult to see because they want you to go and pay for it on Spotify, but it's well worth it if you want to do it that way, or you can listen to it for free on the NBC podcast site. But what Rachel Maddow revealed to both of us, to all of us, to anybody who's paying attention, and I didn't know all of this stuff happened, but MAGA is exactly what America First was attempting to do with Jim Crow, white supremacists, neo-fascists, and then literal Nazis in the 20s. They had a plan to basically take over the United States government in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. In fact, I saw today, Alex Jones was saying, it's time for us to go do a rally at Madison Square Garden. Ironically, in 1939, the American First Unit movement had a huge Madison Square rally where, yeah, there was a massive Nazi movement afoot in the United States. And like I said earlier today on X, for example, these people that are part of this situation that find themselves, however they're magnetized to this group, whether it's through churches, their community, their history, their families, whatever the case is, they don't give a flying fuck about liberty and justice for all or the integrity of law. If they did, do you think they'd be following a felon con artist like Donald Trump? No, they don't care about anything about what we all know it is, okay? Which, to your point, what we're in the midst of, our friends, is a guy like Elon Musk, who is the richest guy in the world because of the deep state socialism that we reveal. I've gone on for a little bit here, Roseanne. Why don't you take a crack at telling them what we reveal that's relevant to why Elon Musk is the welfare queen that he is?
Well, I know there are people who have common sense and who understand facts and evidence. All right. And I'm going to tell you, when Elon talks about immigrants, he talks in hyperbole. Okay. I can tell you, as a real person who has spent 3 decades in bureaucracy that deals with homelessness, Social Security, all kinds of benefits and things like that. It's not easy. The bureaucracy of the United States, of the state of Nevada, of the city of Las Vegas, makes it it's so trying and time consuming to get any of the benefits that these guys are always saying. Oh, the immigrants get this, the immigrants get that. You know what their words are? Their words are bullshit.
Okay, good. And you're right. But see, and that's ridiculous in its own right, not to mention all of these insanely easily provable lies to anybody who doesn't have a 6th-grade education and who is so stupid they shouldn't have a voter registration ID, to be honest with you, because they couldn't pass a civics test. But the question that I asked you, Roseanne, is what is Elon Musk demonstrating vis-a-vis the socialist deep state?
What's he demonstrating? He's demonstrating that he can say whatever he wants.
He's the recipient of the deep state socialism is what I'm getting at, Roseanne.
He gets all the benefits. He's getting the benefits. He's not going to tell people that he is a welfare queen. He's not going to say that.
You're right. I'm sorry to stump you, but I got to go right into this. Okay, look, the bottom line is that what we reveal, okay, is that Federal Reserve Act 13.3, which creates exigent lending circumstances under, emergency scenarios in the United States that come straight from the Federal Reserve to our financial system to back channel that in the case if there's famine, if there's natural disasters, if aliens are coming down, if there's a nuclear war, whatever the case is, that the dollar is going to get to where it needs to be able to pay for whatever we have to do to keep people moving forward to save the country in whatever predicament it is, in the event that, people still got to buy food and goods to be able to function, to be able to fight whatever that existential threat is. It was not created for what we reveal to you in our work at The Con, at www.thecon.tv, to backstop the largest criminal racketeering enterprise in the history of the world that set up and knocked down and rug pulled and destroyed through financial terrorism, but through racketeering of global proportions, at least 30 million Americans and north of 100 million, 150 million people worldwide, that basically was deceptive acts and practices and lying, stealing, and cheating, and using forgeries, just like the government is demonstrating that Donald Trump has done in his 91 indictments and his 34 felony convictions, but only to the tune of literally, by the time we got to 2008-ish, $800 trillion globally was the lay of the land in terms of this freaking monstrosity of fraud. So what happened when the global economy completely collapsed? What we did was we provided $33 trillion in 2009, an additional 16 trillion in quantitative easing. That's 49 trillion by 2016. We did another 22 trillion because of a repo run in 2019. Then we opened up the floodgates during COVID. We're talking north of $71 trillion, of which went to the likes of Bitcoin and pump and dump schemes and all sorts of things that took Elon Musk's and he was already basically working on government contracts and subsidized by the government for a variety of reasons. But in addition to that, literally, we've given trillions of dollars to billionaire and billionaire apparatuses illegally for the last 13 years. So that what? So that Elon Musk could create a platform of propaganda and lies with our friends, the Saudi Foreign Sovereign Wealth Fund, not to mention the private equity guys that are the guys that are ultimately first guys in position for these trillions and trillions of dollars to basically be used by these apparatuses that put them above market forces and put them above the law to basically lie, steal, and cheat and deceive and destroy through financial terrorism tens of millions of Americans. And so what we're in the midst of at this crisis situation, and it's a crisis because mainstream media doesn't have the capacity to tell you what we're telling you in www.thecleannewdeal.org. They are not telling you all of
They
the
have
truth.
no integrity or courage.
And we've got channels of propaganda on the right specifically, but boy, the guys on the left, they're a different breed, and they're not the left. The corporatocracy revolving door is what I'm talking about versus the actual fascism that is coming through the likes of X and all of the surrogates and the pimps, whores, junkies, and parasites at Fox and all of these liars who have billions of dollars to lie to you in a way that is the easiest provable, discountable, ridiculous lies, while we've got the truth that goes to infinity and beyond, which blows up the largest criminal conspiracy and racketeering and cover up in history, that is our government. You might be asking, why isn't Merrick Garland at the DOJ coming down on Elon Musk and Trump and everything now, all things considered? And I can tell you that the DOJ has been pretty busy as of late. They took down the guy from Mexico, the biggest cartel. They just went after Puff Daddy. They've had some high profile stuff, right? But they're not going after Elon Musk and, quite frankly, all things that are happening that we know are complete propaganda. Who is Elon Musk involved with? Who are all the different people? I mean, from media and so on and so forth, I could go on and on and on. But what you need to understand, America, okay, is you need to understand the corollary between the four questions. What are the four questions, Roseanne?
The four questions are, there's qualified immunity.
What is qualified immunity?
Qualified immunity is the police can go out to a situation, shoot someone, and say, oh, they came after me, so I'm blameless. Okay.
That means they're above the law. Okay, two.
Number two is we have to look at presidential immunity. Nobody should be above the law.
Okay, presidential immunity. Donald Trump was in office. He led an insurrection, even though he did a wag the dog, and he was involved. And by the way, this is probably the most important thing of all at the moment, guys. What happened in 2020 didn't just happen. Okay, I saw, as did anybody in media or anybody paying attention, that all of these MAGAs through all of the different white supremacist groups, they were gathering in Washington D.C. at the Trump Hotel by the thousands. We saw that online. Everybody knew it was coming. They went and they landed in the Capitol, and then boom, they created this insurrection that the Supreme Court then allowed Donald Trump to get away with, right? Because we haven't had the actual, we've had the investigation by the J6 inquiry investigation, but Jack Smith got stymied because of Judge Chunkin and all of the maneuverings of the Supreme Court, led by none other than Chief Justice Roberts, and then of course Clarence Thomas, and of course Judge Alito, who was hanging an upside down flag to represent the insurrection. And they're all getting paid by the billionaires that are getting free money that I told you from Federal Reserve Act 13.3, because this is what you need to understand. Also, Blackwater was involved. Okay, do you know who Blackwater is? The guy who's in charge of Blackwater is a guy by the name of Prince. Okay, is it? It doesn't matter. I can't think of his first name. I want to say
Eric.
Eric Prince. Eric Prince, who's also a billionaire in his own right, whose sister was Betsy DeVos, or was in the Trump administration, because she shelled out a bunch of money. Whatever. The bottom line is he created Blackwater. Blackwater came out of the Iraq era war on terror, supposedly, where these guys were ultra mercenaries and they work for a lot of these kingpins in these in Middle Eastern countries, in addition to a lot of other things. And they wound up, by the way, unmarked during the Trump administration, during Black Lives Matter, and they were throwing people into vans just like they do all throughout the world in incursions. Okay, it's like, what? This is happening in the United States. That happened back in 2018, 2019, and 2020, right? Before the insurrection. So the J6 investigation goes through all of these different things, and they want to put it all on Trump. Do you think Trump was smart enough and fast enough to be able to put all these things together? He would never in a million years know how to do that. He had the complicity with all the guys in the Pentagon. He had guys at the Department of State. He had guys within the FBI. He had guys, wherever. And, Eric Prince and company were obviously some of the top within the military brass and well connected and everything else with military industrial. Those guys got cops and guys that were like, highly trained, special ops types guys that ended up invading the Capitol. And that was in 2020. Okay. That was in 2020. What do you think they're doing right now, Roseanne? Do you not think if they got billionaires
planning the next chapter?
Planning? It's been planned since then. They're executing. What we're seeing in our face in real time is propaganda beyond comprehension that our systems can't take down because they're all corrupted. How do we know that? Because we did the work on the con when we went to the FBI, the DOJ, the SEC, OCC, and all of the rest. And we know how these institutions can be corrupted through revolving door, first and foremost. Second of all, how are these people able to move the world in such a synchronized way? Why do you think Putin might be completely aligned with a international white supremacist sort of movement? Why do you think that is, Roseanne?
Because of our third question, which is what is the illegal use of Federal Reserve Act 13.3 that pumps money into these financial terrorists, and they get it for free. They can do what they want.
Legally is the key word.
Yeah, the law doesn't, nobody stops them.
Nobody put in the statutes of Federal Reserve Act 13.3 that you're going to be allow the full faith and credit of the United States to backstop massive racketeering that the Department of Justice isn't going to actually investigate and have the will to be able to prosecute. That's the problem. The core of everything is corruption. And like Game of Thrones, my friends, he who owns the Iron Throne, which gets basically Congress and the military, you also own the Iron Bank. That's the trifecta. That's power. And you put the police on top of it, and you've got complete control, which is a perversion inversion of democracy, which is basically dictatorship and fascism. It's happening right before your eyes. The four questions were the synchronicity between what is qualified immunity, if cops can shoot to kill without having to prove it, and nobody can look at it at the investigation, or the evidence of it, then that means they're above the law and they have the right to kill. That's like death squads. That's insane. The second part of it is, what is presidential immunity? Well, I just laid it out, and the Supreme Court actually not just compromised, but they completely betrayed the Constitution. They betrayed the 14th Amendment, Section 3, which says after the Civil War, if you're a part of the insurrection, you can't run for the highest office in the land, let alone any offices. But they were like, oh, yeah, you can. Don't worry about it. Why? Because we're getting paid by billionaires who are getting trillions of dollars for free, which is what? It's called an aristocracy, America. So listen, I'm sorry to make you feel uncomfortable, Roseanne. I got to go do stuff. You got stuff to do. We're all busy, but nobody can see the forest for the trees. The fact of the matter is, if you understand what the problem is, and you know who is involved with who did what, when, and how, and you've got the evidence, the process of the United States in the legal system is you pursue it. You have DAs prosecutors put together with investigators what we had to do in the con, all of the evidence that puts it all together such that you indict and then you put it through a jury of their peers and then you get a conviction. That's the law. By the way, we just saw Puff Diddy is getting busted. And then, of course, we saw before, who was the other guy that we saw that got, oh, yeah, we were talking about Weinstein yesterday. He got busted. Both of them, in cahoots in some different manner, shape, or form socially with Donald Trump. Do we not think that Donald Trump's been playing the same game for the last 5 decades? Of course he has. I'm sorry I took over the conversation. The bottom line is, guys, we've got the clean new deal. So give us the precepts of the clean new deal, Roseanne.
And I'm just going to give you the precepts. Ready? We have to recreate a modern day Glass-Steagall in order to separate commercial from investment banking. We have to end Citizens United, because all that is legalized corruption by dark money. We have to demonstrate how 71 trillion, not million, not billion, but trillion, was illegally looted. Okay. The financial system got this from the Fed illegally. Millionaires, billionaires, and all their machinations and apparatuses were foisted up above the law and above market forces. And those billionaires, like Elon Musk, keep getting rewarded by the illegal use of Federal Reserve Act 13.3.
Quick question. What do they do when they get unlimited money and they're above the law? Do you think they do things like allow a president to run who's a convicted felon? Do you think that they have a platform where the richest guy in the world can spread 10 million lies per second or whatever the number may be? Do you think that might be the outcome of giving billionaires trillions of dollars for free to basically lie, steal, and deceit and be above the law? What do you think the outcome is going to be, America? What do you want to fix in this country? The problem is, it's not where are we going to find the money? It's how are we going to stop paying the freaking criminals that are destroying everybody while lying about it? Don't you get it? That's the clean new deal. But there's more. Go ahead.
We have to expand the Supreme Court to 13 justices. We have to enforce a canon of ethics. Not only have a canon, but punish the illegality when it happens. Not
if there hold on a second. If there is qualified immunity and if there's presidential immunity, should there be judicial immunity?
No, you can't have judicial immunity.
What do you think we're talking about right here? This is judicial immunity, okay? When you have these guys that can backdoor whatever the amount of money is and all of the favors and all of these different things, for these billionaires that have hijacked the Supreme Court because they were able to do this through the Electoral College, which we haven't even talked about, which we'll get to in just a minute. But the fact is, those are the trifecta, because you're not in a democracy, people. You're not working within a capitalistic system. Capitalism requires risk reward, and the law is the only thing that can keep capitalism, quite frankly, in check, not to mention criminality. We don't have any of that. What we have is a failed state because of corruption, and you all continue to take the bait and go the wrong direction because you don't understand the structure and the way this whole thing works that lead us to the last 4 points.
Okay. Well, we talked about expanding SCOTUS to 13 and having real meat in the law so that these people are punished.
They're held accountable, and they got to have all their money clawed back, just like the CEOs that we're trying to do through the first part of what we're supposed to do, which is basically create Glass-Steagall, which separates commercial banking from investment banking. So these guys can't gamble with other people's money. So you've got everybody who's in power, guys. You've got the police, you've got the cops, you've got the president, you've got, I just said that twice, sorry. And you've got billionaires and CEOs. Do you see a pattern here? What is that pattern?
They have total control. That's all they.
For who? For who? For a country
them.
out by and for the people?
Not us.
It's
Not
for themselves, that at everybody's expense. And we've got so much on the line. Is it okay that we have systemic freaking racism in prisons? Is it okay that we have a climate crisis? Is it okay that we have forever wars? Is it okay that we have billionaires getting trillions of dollars for free? Seriously, this is what we're talking about, America. You've got to pull your head out of your ass and you got to see the forest for the trees. You got to understand the emperor's new clothes and the four last pieces of the puzzle. You got to end qualified immunity, which is ending presidential immunity, which is ending judicial immunity, which then leads to the end of obviously the end of the electoral college, which enables all the manipulation and the perversion of all of these other things. Because the question we have to ask Governor Tim Walz out there on the stump every which way to Sunday is what, Roseanne?
Did this United States get founded by the founding fathers who were fighting against a tyrant? Did we do that in order to prop up billionaires and all that they're involved in? Did we do that for their benefit, or was it done?
We do that to put them above the law, Roseanne.
We didn't do it to put anybody above the law.
Did we put them above market forces, Roseanne? Was that the idea of the American Revolution and the Civil War?
Of course not.
Was that the war to end all wars in World War II against fascism?
What we did in the beginning was to have a government of, for, and by the people, not of, for, and by the billionaires.
Which is tyranny, which is kings, which is they've betrayed through diabolical, deceptive acts and practices, the con. Okay? The con, which you can find at www.thecon.tv, which you can find at www.thecleannewdeal.org. You know, I want to laugh about it because it's funny. It's really funny. It's hilarious to me, like Mad Magazine, Alfred E. Newman, that somebody as stupid as Donald Trump and as disgusting, who is a rapist, a racist clown that it doesn't even know how the government works, let alone a billionaire that doesn't know the government of the United States can't go bankrupt, in control of tens of millions of minds. Okay? Joseph Goebbels, who was the propaganda minister for Adolf Hitler, who led a revolution of Nazism that was, the National Socialist Workers Front, that ultimately was in war with the communists at the time to create a fascist state. And he got the help of the corporate fascists, so that he ended up creating a war because nobody stopped him that led to the death of at least 70 million people. And they also tried to basically overthrow the United States at the same time that nobody actually knows about. Franklin Delano Roosevelt at the time had enough balls to say, these are the enemies of freedom and liberty and justice for all, and I welcome their hate. Who's doing that now, Roseanne?
That is exactly what we're trying to do. And I want to tell everybody that it is so easy and simple to hear all the pieces, to see the evidence, to hear the truth. If you first go to the website, thecleannewdeal.org, everything is there. All the links to all the, where you can get thecon.tv. It's free. You don't have to buy it. You can hear people who have been in the government, in private business, at the very top of looking at all the mortgage-backed security.
Look, it's the investigation that the Department of Justice and the FBI and the SEC and all the agencies around the country didn't do. And they've got tens of thousands of employees. They have over a $90 billion a year budget. And they didn't do this for the American people. I did. I did it with my team, and we did it for about $4.5 million soup to nuts. And we got the $71 trillion truth that's so bulletproof that everybody in power had to quash us. Why do you think I'm raising my voice? because it's not okay. If you're not furious by the situation, then you're not American.
You gotta listen, okay? You gotta listen. As I've said to a lot of people, take the plastic covers off your brain, okay? Do not allow them to keep pissing on your head, drowning you, telling you it's rain.
What happened in Nazi Germany?
Yeah, people, what happened?
What happened? You tell me, Roseanne. Tell everybody out. What happened in Nazi Germany? Did everybody, after the fact, after we ended up having a blitzkrieg Germany and pile drive them into absolute submission by destroying, I think, 9 million Germans, by the way, for all of you white supremacists out there? I think between the United States and the Allies and the Russians, they got decimated. But after 70 million people got killed, the thing is, America, don't think about anything else anymore, okay? There's nothing else to listen to. The only thing that matters is corruption, and we have the answers. Put me up against any economist, put me up against any legal scholar, put me up against any politician. I'll say this about those of you who like AOC. She didn't even know RICO was a crime. It's the mother of all crimes. The stupidity in Congress is only possible because the system worked around Congress to be able to provide the financial wherewithal based on what we're telling you directly from the Fed to the billionaires and the billionaire apparatuses. Do you think they need Congress? No, they don't need Congress.
Oh, and
They're doing
Congress,
whatever they want, however they want, because they've got absolute power. And there's only one of two things that happen from the outcome of this, okay? You either get the truth where you raise it above the lies and the ocean of madness that's going on with all the details. This isn't hyperbole. We're telling you and showing you all of the information that would take these guys out in any non-corrupt court of law in the United States, most assuredly the non-corrupted Supreme Court. But guess what? It doesn't work that way because they're all corrupt. So it's like we're way, 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 way past what Jefferson said, which was, you know what? The tree of liberty has to be refreshed with the blood of tyrants and patriots from time to time. I'm trying to give you a peaceful way out. I'm trying to give you the ability to shut off the noise, to understand who's control, who did what, when, and how, so that you have the truth. Because when you have the truth, you live in light. When you lie, you are depraved. When you have the truth, you're bulletproof. When you lie, inside you die. Stop lying. Stop buying lies.
and remember, we are the many versus the money. Cut off their money. Go to thecleannewdeal.org.